This video is to highlight what an infinitive is in Unit 6 for Lesson 2 of Spanish 1. So here you are looking at the vocabulary for this particular unit. So the vocabulary states, and we'll be reviewing in this lesson, what a verb is in English. And then also it highlights something called an infinitive. So an infinitive in Spanish is what we call the most basic form of a verb that describes an action. So it is not being done by anybody, or it is not being received by anyone. So it is what we're going to call a unconjugated verb. So an infinitive always has the word to in front of it. So to walk, to talk, to listen, to write, to text. So those are infinitives. And in Spanish, an infinitive, it is a verb, but it's in its basic form, and we need to conjugate or work with these verbs. So the next vocabulary word you see here is the stem. So the stem of a verb is the part of the verb that gives its meaning or root. So you begin with the infinitive, and then we have to change a few things to get to the stem of that verb. So before we look at the conjugation and subject-verb agreement, I'm going to jump to the next portion of this lesson. So in the next portion of this lesson, you are given there's some items here when talking about the structures of verbs, but you can feel free to read over that, but I'm going to scrim down here to the assignment. So when you look at these words, okay, all of these words have some things in common. Dormir, bailar, tener, averiguar, participar, comer. First, every single one of them end in an R. Secondly, it is either an AR, ER, or IR. So any word here that has an AR, ER, or IR on the end is what we're going to refer to as an infinitive. So dormir means to sleep. Bailar means to dance. I'm going to jump down here. Saber means to know. Repetir means to repeat. So any word that has an AR, ER, or IR on the end of it is known as an infinitive. To do something, the most basic point of a verb. In this assignment, you are going to underline, and it kind of has some info here, and it does not need to be a Word document. You are going to, for the verb given, highlight the ending or change the color, and then underline the stem. So the stem is what is left, okay, after we work with the verb in order to conjugate it. So what that means is if I have the verb dormir, I can highlight the IR and underline the root or the stem, which is D-O-R-M, dorm. For bailar, I can highlight the AR, and then the stem or the root is B-A-I-L, bail. For tener, I can highlight the ER, and then what's left is the T-E-N, ten. That is the stem. So the first step in looking at verbs is looking at the infinitive and looking at what the ending is, AR, ER, IR, and what the stem is, which is the remaining portions. So again, if we were to have down here, andar, I can highlight the AR, and I'm left with AND. For ser, I can highlight the ER, and I'm left with only one letter, which is okay. So this is the first portion in looking at verbs in Spanish and infinitives.